Good day and greetings from the Great White North. My name is Prickly Poo and welcome to day 291 of a year of change. Today we're going to sort of get back into our food diary that we've done before. It's nothing really new or spectacular or anything else, but I don't have any fantastic fruit to show you or some weird vegetable or, some new type of food stuff. This is actually something that I looked at it before a long time ago and it's always just kind of seemed bleh. What had happened was, a few days ago on MyFitnessPal, there was someone that had commented on a few days ago when I had mentioned about my recipe for shrimp and cream mushroom soup, which is a very bad recipe, admittedly, but still better than eating pizza and nachos and all the other bad stuff. And during the conversation, or the yelling at me, she had relayed, a couple of different things that she had throughout the couple of days ago. A couple of days before, I should say. And one of the things was chicken. Now, the majority of the meat that I do eat is generally chicken, just because it's leaner and it's less expensive than going out and getting a steak. And I can throw it into a stir fry. I can, put it in with spaghetti. I can do pretty much whatever I want with it because it's very versatile. But I had seen before that there were some people that I have seen people boil it. And it's something that I've never really been brave enough to try, just because anything that is generally boiled, like vegetables meat being boiled in general, like I can understand if it's part of a stew, that's okay because you're creating a stew. It's something a little bit different, but just boiling it instead of baking it or frying it or something like that has always just seemed a little odd to me, and I've never really tried it. So I decided, okay, you know what, I'm going to give it a shot. Just to see what all the hype, because I've seen other people do it before, and I've always sort of looked at it as going, no, you're doing this for health reasons, which I sort of understand, because you don't have butter in with it, or olive oil, or whatever it is you decide to cook with. So yes, I'm sure it is a little bit better that way, but it would just be so bland. Because when you boil stuff, you just, especially vegetables comes to mind. I don't like boiling vegetables at all. I absolutely hate it, because it sucks all the color out of it, it sucks all the flavor out of it, and they just turn mushy and gross. Like peas and things like that, that's a little bit different. If they're frozen, you gotta kind of heat them up somehow. But generally speaking, I don't leave them in there too long, just because they get that weird, all the color drains out of them and the flavor is kind of ugh. So I try to avoid doing that. And the thought of doing that with meat is so strange to me, aside from a stew, as we've discussed before. But I thought, you know what, I'm going to try it. Because generally when I buy chicken, I buy it in bulk. Not just actual chicken. It's just I'll buy like a big box of chicken breasts or something, and they're usually misshapen ones. But what I found is that the ones I've been buying, the boxes have been getting smaller and smaller, and the price has not. So I'm getting about half as much as I used to get a year ago. So I thought, you know what, I probably should find another source. So anyway, found one that's a little bit more expensive. It's still cheap considering what you're getting for it. But in this one, all the chicken breasts were individually wrapped. They were vacuum sealed or frozen or whatever it is. Vacuum sealed and frozen. Here we go. So I thought, you know what, this is the perfect thing to do because I can take one and, no matter how it tastes, I'm going to eat it because I don't want to cook something and go, it's gross. I can always add something to it later or refry it if I need to. So I'm not going to have anything go to waste or anything like that. So I thought, I don't really want the package it's in to expand to the point of bursting, so I'll poke a little hole in it just so that it'll be fine. And threw it in. And just let it boil. And it just, throughout this entire time, I'm thinking, it's just everything that makes it good. Like, chicken doesn't have a lot of flavor to begin with anyway. And I think I have something in my eyeball. It might be a spear. Nope. So chicken itself doesn't have a lot of flavor to it. So generally, it's like tofu. Whatever you use to spice it, or whatever you use to spice it with, whatever spices you use with it, contribute to the flavor. So that's why I use it generally, so that whatever I put into it, it's going to sort of take on that flavor. The chicken and the tofu, actually. So I thought I'm going to try this and see where it goes from here. And I figure that boiling it is going to just ruin it. But part of what we've been trying to do right from day one, part of the reason why we've added more fruits and vegetables and why we're trying different things and things that we maybe would never have tried before, is we're trying to broaden our horizons. So this is part of it. And whether I like it or not, I'm going to try it and then, give it some time and try it again, things like that, just to sort of, because you never know. So anyway, boiled it, tried it, and well, when I poked a hole in it, not thinking, obviously, because I'm stupid, of course, water still got in because it expanded and the hole got bigger, so it still just boiled it. So I just had to peel it out of a bag. But I just thought I'm going to just try the chicken, just the chicken by itself, and go from there. And it was so good. It was surprisingly good that it's probably going to be the general way, unless I'm actually specifically making like a stir fry or something like that. And even then, I don't know what I'm going to do, but it's probably going to be the way I'm going to prepare it from now on. Now, I don't know if it's because it was in the bag or because it was just boiled. I have an inkling that it's because it was in the bag. So I think what I'm going to do next time is actually not puncture the bag and let it just sort of stay in there, because it shouldn't really expand too much. There's going to be some air in there, but they're all vacuum sealed, so it should be fine. But I was really, really surprised at how good it was. It was just, we all know that it tastes like chicken, and this kind of does taste like chicken, but it was the same sort of thing as going, oh my, this really, really tastes very chickeny. I don't know how else to really put it. There was nothing else that was sort of getting in the way of it. I was very surprised. I really thought that it would just sort of suck everything out of it, and it was going to be watery and gross. It's not watery at all. It's not dry, obviously, because it's boiling. So you don't run into that issue at all. Better than the chicken I had at the restaurant that I almost said the name out loud at for the work dinner thing, which is the only good part of it anyway. But shockingly good. So thank you to Wendy for mentioning that and for yelling at me. I'm going to try to keep this one short. I'm not going to make it. I know I'm not. But I'm going to try to keep this video short. So I think I'm going to probably try that again. Just try different ways. And I didn't want to add anything to it. I didn't add any salt. I didn't add any pepper. I didn't add any spices or sauces or anything else. I had just the chicken because I wanted to taste, exactly what the flavor was with just being boiled. So having said that, so shocked at how good it was, because when people say, oh no, you've got to try it, it's so great, you're like, no, you're saying, I understand that it's a healthier thing, but it's like someone saying, oh my god, these rice cakes are so amazing. Like, no, you're trying to say that to yourself so that you can say, oh, this way I can choke it down if I pretend like I like it. And I still have something in my eye. All right. Anyway, so that was the thought process that I had. It was just, you're trying to sort of get this going so that in your head, and we've all done it, where we go, no, this is really delicious. Because just in order to choke that down, because in our head we're going cake, 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 cake. But it is really surprisingly good. I was really shocked. And I mean, you could cook it that way and then throw it into something else, whatever you wanted. But I saved, granted, a lot of what we're cooking with now is a lot healthier. Like olive oil is still going to be a lot healthier than cooking with butter or margarine or something like that. We've already gone through the saturated and unsaturated fats and stuff like that, so I'm not going to delve into that. But a tablespoon of that, which generally will do an entire pan, that's still 120 calories. And it's a healthy fat, but it's still a fat. And it's something I can get. I'm still getting, saturated fat, a little tiny bit from the chicken. But if I can cut a little bit back on stuff that, if I can get those 120 calories from an apple or additional vegetables or something like that, then yes, it's going to be much, much better. So I would urge you, if you get a chance during this week at some point, or next time you buy chicken, and you don't have to buy ones that are individually wrapped. Whatever you decide to buy for chicken, grab like a little Ziploc bag or something, suck all the air out of it and keep it in there, or just boil it plain. I don't know what would happen if I just dropped it in there. I suspect it would taste pretty much the same because all the water got in the bag anyway. But again, in my head, I'm trying to get past that block of, no, the bag kept the flavor in. But it's water. It's going to fill everything and flow in and out and all sorts of fancy things. But if you get a chance, and even if it's just to have one chicken breast that you're sharing with 5 other people in your family, just so that everyone can try it, don't add any salt to it, don't add any pepper, just try it once. It's surprisingly good, and it's something that I can look at and think, you know what, this is, even though olive oil is a healthy fat, well, healthier than butter or margarine or something like that, not having it at all is probably even healthier. And if I can get those from a better source, which is really what we've been trying to do from day one, then why wouldn't I? So if I can forego that, even if it's just for chicken, even if it's only when I'm cooking this one dish, then it's going to be much, much better. And again, I'm a salt person. I've shown you my salt grinder. I almost called it a shaker again. I like lots of spices on stuff. But even just trying it plain, it was good. And it wasn't dry because, I mean, the moisture was still, the moisture, yeah, that's right. It seemed, kind of came out weird. It was still moist. There's a word that makes everyone feel uncomfortable. Moist. But it was still really tender. It was really, really good all the way in. And I didn't just throw it in and leave it at a full boil for an hour. I had it in there at like a medium-high boil for a bit. It's just so weird thinking that I'm boiling chicken. It just, and I understand because in your head you're thinking, well, chicken soup, but you're not throwing anything else in there. You're just boiling it and then taking it out again. Anyway, I've seen people do it before, and it was always sort of, yeah, that's a little too far. That was along the lines of, rice cakes and other things that I can't think of right now because I'm too stupid and there's still something in my eye. That's really bugging me now. But I just want to be able to pull my eyes out, run them under cold water, and pop them back in. That would feel good. Anyway, I don't know what it is that's in there, but I'm just going to wink at you throughout the rest of the video. I lost my train of thought, but I was probably repeating myself anyway. And, oh, look at that. Just a hair over 10 minutes. So we're halfway through. I'm going to try to keep these short. I've tried for so long to keep these short, but now I have a couple of people that are mentioning it going, you're still too long. You're still going on too long. Shut the fuck up. You're still going on too long. You said what you need to say. Move on from there. So it'd be nice. The very last 60 episodes or so, I can keep it under 20 minutes, which would be nice. I know, and they're like, no, keep it under 10. It's too fucking long. We don't want to watch the rest of it. For those of you that do watch these all the way through, bravo, you're a trooper. Thank you very much. For those of you that aren't, I understand why. Don't feel bad. Anyway, for this week, I'm going to repeat myself a little bit here. Try it. That's all I ask. Just try it. Next time that you go buy, you don't have to go out and especially buy chicken or anything. Go out, buy some chicken. And even if it's just, white meat, we've talked about that before as well. Dark meat seems to have a little more flavor, but there's a lot more fat in it. But if you're going to try it, then put it in a little bag, suck all the air out, or just boil it plain, however you want to do it. And just try it by itself without any salt or pepper or anything else. Some of you are going to hate it. Some of you are going to really like it. Some of you are going to go, I can take it or leave it. It doesn't really matter. But for me, I think it's a viable option. It's probably the best way to put it for me. Not that, oh my God, this is the greatest chicken I've ever had. This is how I'm going to cook it forever and ever and ever and ever. I'm probably not going to. I'm probably going to mix and match and things that way. But it is something that I would very definitely make it that way again. And I would try it, without putting a hole in the bag so that I can try to keep as much in there as I can. But in general, I think it's a much healthier alternative than cooking it in a frying pan or baking it probably roughly the same, but then it dries out. So it's just like everything else that we've been trying to do, it's a viable, sustainable option for something like that. And I know this is kind of weird going on this long about boiled chicken, but it's something I had never tried before. And I mean, that's part of the novelty as well, just trying something new and finding out this is really good. I really enjoyed it. And I mean, you could certainly still mix in all sorts of other stuff with it, but for me, it was just trying it plain, just wanting to say, okay, I want to know what it tastes like, and then I can figure out what needs to go in there, what I need to add, whether or not it's worth it, if I need to recook it, like in a stir fry or something, but you really don't. I think you'd be very, very surprised at how good it is. So try it this week or next time that you buy chicken, however you want to do it, and just give it a shot. Let me know what you think. If you do try it, whether on here or MyFitnessPal or whatever, it's something that I never thought I would ever actually try. But I like the fact that it sort of follows in line with, us trying new things. Because when I saw her comment, I was just like, immediately, she had this recipe for a salad, which looked really, really good. And then she mentioned boiled chicken, and immediately you're just, I don't want to do that. No. And I think just getting past that mental barrier is the biggest part of that. But I mean, I've tried everything. I've tried century eggs. I did try bugs. We tried, I think, the mealworm things at one point, and the crickets. Tried those as well, which didn't taste like anything. But this is a little bit better, I think. This tastes, really giving it some thought. The boiled chicken tastes much better than bugs. For me, anyway. Your taste may differ. But for me, I think that I would probably prefer to have the boiled chicken than having the bugs again, because they're kind of gross. I think it was the sour cream and onion flavor on the bugs that actually were the gross part, not the bug itself. Anyway, getting off topic. But us just trying new things, something like this, and I'm sure that there are going to be other things that I'm going to look at and go, it's kind of a little too health foodie-ish. But if it's something that is sustainable and something that's a viable option that you will actually enjoy, then why not? If it's cutting out an extra 120 calories of really just fat, no matter how healthy the fat is, if I can get that from another source, if that means that I can have another 2 cups of baby carrots, or if it means that I can have, which is going to fill me up more than, having butter on my bread, it's going to free some things up. And just like we started way at the beginning, finding alternatives to those high calorie foods. And I know this is kind of weird because we did the whole thing on olive oil as well. I don't know if I'm pretty sure we did a whole thing on oils, well, fats and stuff like that anyway. But just trying to find an alternative for that. This is sort of part of what we've been trying to do for so long. And it's nice this late in the game to actually find something else that is new to me and, a very novel approach to something that, I have chicken here all the time. So just trying it in a different way and something that I really enjoy, and I'm going to do it again because I think it was really good. But I will let you know how things go when it's just without the puncture in the bag. See if that makes a difference. Probably do that on the weekend sometime. Next time I try it. I don't have any left. But it's all good. I do have some pork, which I might try as well. I don't know if it's going to do the same thing, but that's not bad. You have to cut that up to try it. So I'll let you know how things go for that. But for right now, I'm going to leave this video here, less than 20 minutes. So thank you very much for watching. If you liked it, please poke the like button for me. In the meantime, keep yourself warm and fuzzy, and I will see you in the next video.